Hello friends and welcome back. Here's the TLDR. Most teams spend hours a year discussing the same problems over and over again without knowing if they've made any improvements. So today we're going to talk about a protocol that's going to show you exactly where your team stands and what to fix first. Think about it. Would we ever teach students without assessing them? Of course not. Yet we're expected teams to just magically improve without data to understand how they're actually coming together to collaborate and function. In the next few minutes, you're going to learn about the Collaborative Learning Team Assessment Protocol that I created based on observing many teams over the years K-12, as well as my own experience being on a team and leading teams. You're going to get the exact materials and steps for facilitating this protocol, and you're going to turn different perspectives into unified action. Let's dive in. So let's talk a little bit about the assessment that we're going to use for this protocol. If we think about the different types of teams that we have, well, first we have a group of individuals. They are just advocating for their own students, for their own class. Each one is in a silo or on an island on their own, and they'll come together probably to receive information in the meeting or to give information in the meeting. And that's about it. Then they leave the meeting, go on back to the classrooms and do their own thing. Then we have the collaborative working group. They're going to come together prompted and coordinated by a team lead. That might be an administrator, an instructional coach, or one person that's on the team, and they're going to come together to complete a task and to be as efficient as possible at doing that task. That sounds pretty good. Then we have a collaborative learning team. This is a group of interdependent teachers that are not only dividing the work or leveraging their strengths, but they're also learning together, improving their practice in the interest of all students that they support, not just the students in their classroom. We've got the independent group, we have the dependent group, and we have the interdependent group. So all of these teams are on a continuum, and they might move across that continuum depending on the topic, depending on the season in the year. And so I'm here to show you how you can strive to ensure that your team is working at the highest level, and that's at the level of interdependent. That's the collaborative learning team. Here's a pro tip. So if your team comes into a meeting and they spread out all over the room, it's probably a group of individuals. If they are all facing you as a facilitator or whoever might be facilitating the meeting, then that's an indication that they're working to get things done. And if they sit in a circle, they're probably closer to a collaborative learning team. Now that we've talked about the three types of teams, let's look at the four areas that you're going to see in this assessment. That's going to be structure, norms, accountability, and continuous quality improvement. And each one of those has 5 indicators, and the assessment adds up to a total score of 100. And the points come from the 3 types of groups, either individual, collaborative working group, or a collaborative learning team. So depending on where they self-assess themselves individually across these 20 indicators in 4 different areas will provide a total score which will reflect where that team is from the perspective of that individual. And then we'll talk later about how you can use this to create a team goal. So let's review the materials that you're going to need for this protocol. So before the meeting, you're going to want to go ahead and create the number line. So let me show you how to do that. All right, let's walk through the 6 steps to facilitate this protocol with your team. Step 1, provide context. So give this about 5 minutes or so, and this will be your opportunity to review what I just went over. You might want to give them a little idea about the 3 types of teams and also discuss the assessment itself. All right, step 2, everyone take the assessment. So just give everyone 5 or 10 minutes to work on this individually. So here's a pro tip for you. Sometimes the team will want to discuss this, so you want to reinforce that this is to be taken individually. So you could just say something like, let's take a few minutes and hold the silence so everyone can have an opportunity to review and take this assessment on their own. Here's another pro tip. You might want to take this assessment for yourself, so that's going to help you be able to better communicate the context to the team and discuss the assessment briefly before they take it. Step 3, give the team a couple minutes to tally all their results. So each person, after going through and taking the assessment, is now going to tally up their scores in each of the sections as well as the total score. The lowest section determines the color of the sticky note that they're going to get. Then, and this is important, they write their total score on the sticky note, not the section score, but the total out of 100. Pro tip, when you're having your team post their CLT assessment results, be sure to model for them, because a common mistake is that they will put the subtotal on the sticky note that represents the color of the lowest area. And that's not what we want. We want the color of the sticky note to represent the lowest area, but we want the number on the sticky note to be the total score. Okay, step 4. This is where the results are going to get visual. So you've already drawn a number line from 0 to 100 on chart paper or on a whiteboard. So each person places their sticky note on their total score position. So for example, someone with a 45 on their sticky note places that sticky note on the 45 mark of the number line. Here's another pro tip. So when your team goes up to the board to post their results, I'd recommend you go first, show a little vulnerability, and that will help build trust with the team. Okay, step 5, analysis. This is where we want to slow down a little bit and ensure that we're having a rich dialogue, rich discussion around this data so we can make meaning of it to really help drive the way that we come together and collaborate. So we're going to do this like any data protocol. We're going to look at noticings, inferences, and then implications. So noticings, just ask your team, what do you notice first? Or what do you notice about our sticky notes? Just your observations. Let's not try to make meaning of it first. Just what do you see? So next we'll go into inferences. And you might want to ask, what does this suggest about our team? And this will give the team an opportunity to interpret their noticings. And finally, implications. This is where we might ask, what does this mean for our work together? And this is where insights turn into possibilities. And lastly, step 6. This is where we're going to come up with a team goal. This is going to be really important, so let's give the protocol a good 10 minutes or so of conversation to identify this team goal. So I came up with a goal-setting framework called the TEAMS framework. It looks like this. T is for team-owned, developed by the team, not for the team. E is evidence-informed, based on data that we collect as a team. A is action-oriented, so this is specific practices that we're going to all start doing as a team. M is meaningful. This is connected to our shared purpose around student learning and the values we hold around collaboration. And then S is sustainable. This is important, and a lot of people miss this. Something that we can maintain as a team even when things get busy and as the year unfolds. Here's another pro tip. If the goal is just too huge, ask the team, what's the smallest version of this that we could do right now? And that's it. It's about a 45-minute protocol, and this is going to help the team establish both their awareness of how they come together and collaborate, as well as a clear, concrete goal moving forward to improve the way they come together, to make them more effective, more productive, and at the end, improve student achievement. Let's look at a few challenges that you might face as you are facilitating this protocol. Challenge 1, this is the skeptic. So with an eye roll, they might say, oh, here's another assessment. We already know what our problems are. And you just reply in a confident, calm, non-reactive way. Yeah, you might be right. So let's confirm that. There's nothing like getting data to make sure that we're all on the same page, or there might be some surprises. So data is going to help us prioritize and ensure that our next move is the right move. Challenge number 2, there's a wide spread of the sticky notes on the number line. The spread is actually valuable data. So you let the team know, Let's explore what's creating these different experiences on our team. As a facilitator, you focus on curiosity rather than judgment. Challenge 3, time. So you find that you're in a time crunch, you really don't have the 45 minutes. Do a speed round where you provide very little context. You just go through the protocol quickly, get those post-it notes up, identify what that lowest area is, and get the team in agreement as to the direction that they need to go. You could always go back later and provide more context, especially if you take the assessment a second time mid-year or again at the end of the year as an opportunity to show growth. Challenge 4. So let's say that there's analysis paralysis as a result of problems all over the timeline. In other words, there's all 4 sticky notes represented and they're just evenly dispersed and evenly represented. So you might just ask your team, what is the one thing, if improved, could make the biggest difference for our students this semester? Okay, let's go into modifications. So I spoke earlier about having analytics year-long that will decrease the amount of time you have to spend on facilitation. So let's get into that now. So instead of paper and sticky notes, imagine each team member getting a personalized link to complete the assessment online. No more manual calculations, no more creating charts, no wondering if you added correctly. Everything just happens automatically. So here's what makes this such a game changer. It's designed for the full year, beginning of year, middle of year, and an end of year assessment. Works like this. First, you register your team with up to 5, 10, or even 15 members depending on your license. Each member gets their own assessment link. They complete it on their own time. No need to use meeting time for the assessment part. Then boom, you get a complete dashboard showing team averages, individual perspectives, comparison charts, even growth trajectories. Here's another important part of this. It shows you where the team sees things differently. So the biggest breakthrough happens when 2 team members rate norms high and 1 team member rates the norms low. It's going to initiate a very powerful conversation to help reveal different perspectives, maybe misconceptions, miscommunications, and it's going to allow everyone to use this assessment and the framework of the assessment to better communicate different aspects of team collaboration around structure, norms, accountability, and continuous quality improvement. So I think there's advantages to both. I know having a paper copy that you can hold and touch and using the sticky notes and seeing that visual can be very powerful in the moment. And using the online version can reduce the amount of time that you as a facilitator and the team is spending on the logistical aspects so that there's more quality time available to have those rich discussions and dialogue around what they're noticing, the inferences that they're making, and the implications for their work together. So whether you use the paper version or you upgrade to the digital version, the most important thing is that you're measuring what makes a difference in terms of how we come together for effective collaboration, productive collaboration that's going to make the biggest impact on student learning. All right, let's look how we can improve our digital intelligence using AI to supercharge our collaborative learning team assessment for deeper insights and a massive time savings. So let's say you've done the paper version, everyone's completed their sticky notes, you've got your timeline, you've got all the information there. So now let's leverage AI as a data analysis partner. So you enter your team score into a simple spreadsheet, just member names, section scores, and totals, and then you give a prompt like this. Analyze this team's assessment data, identify patterns, outliers, and recommended focus area based on the lowest scores and highest variation. Okay, so now we've used AI to help us identify a focus area to prioritize our time. So let's leverage it further to help us refine our goal. You could go ahead and enter the following prompt. Create a team's goal and suggest 3 specific protocols we could use in our next meeting. Then you want to upload or type in the team's goal framework. Here's another way you can use AI with the multiplication effect. So let's say you're an instructional coach or you're an administrator responsible for multiple teams. So then you could upload all of the team's assessment data and then put in the following prompt. Identify building-wide patterns and offer differentiated support for each team based on the data. So suddenly you're not just improving one team, but you're strategically developing your entire building's collaborative capacity. Let's do a quick recap because this is powerful stuff that can transform your team. So now you have a collaborative learning team assessment and protocol that I've developed over years of experience working and observing many teams. So this assessment is going to help reveal if your team is individuals in a room, a group working to get things done, or a true collaborative learning team. And now you have a 6-step process: context, assessment, tally, post, analyze, and goal set. You know how to turn different perspectives into unified action because these gaps in perception are the work. You've discovered how digital tools can automate the entire process and track growth across a full year, turning one-time assessments into continuous improvement. And you've learned how AI can be your analysis partner, finding patterns, suggesting strategies, and saving hours of work. So go ahead and use this protocol in your next team meeting. It doesn't matter if it's the beginning, middle, or end of year. Any time is a good time to begin to unlock your team's true potential. So as always, I've put the resources in the description below. So that's going to include the assessment, the protocol to follow, as well as any of the materials that you need, and the upgraded digital format of the assessment as well. Remember, you can't improve what you don't measure. And what matters most is measuring our ability to come together and improve student learning. Now go make that impact visible. I'd love to hear how the CLT Assessment Protocol worked with your team, so drop me a line in the comments below. If you found this helpful, please like and subscribe for more practical team development protocols. I'll see you next time.